Hey guys, I'm back with another video, and today is Sunday, so that means it's my, weekly candle recap slash candle Banter series, number 2. I can't believe I actually followed through with the second iteration of it, but here we are. Yeah, I feel like I had a lot of new candles that I was burning, which have gone into reviews or that I just started reviewing, but I haven't burned enough, so there aren't too many candles in here, with also a mixture of not being home a whole lot this week either. So should be a rather shorter video. I have 4 BBW candles, and then I have a number of miscellaneous other brand candles that I'll talk about in the second half, and we'll get right into it. So the first empty we have is this Tropical Island Colada right here, from the Tropical collection, that I feel like wasn't very well received because it was quite boring. This one actually still has some wax in it. It's just like totally dudded out mid-range, like just like the flames would be just like totally be puny and just small, and it wouldn't burn anymore. So I did put the rest of it, like that amount, on the candle warmer. I had it going for like a good 3 days, and then that was sort of the end of it. This was pineapple juice, coconut milk, sweet vanilla, and crushed ice. Super basic pineapple colada, pina colada type of fragrance. Just like a very sweet pineapple mixed with a little bit of like a creamy, sweetened, like coconut juice colada component, and that's pretty much what it smelled like. Super basic. It was, I want to say it had a very sooty and high flame burn for the first half, and then just totally nubbed out and deaded out mid-range, and that's when it went on the warmer, just so I could finish it. And I'm just like, I've been hanging on to this all week, so I'm just like, I just want to, like, you know, toss it. So I'm glad that this is over with. Let's see, throw was about I think medium to medium high, I think is what I had gotten on it. So yeah, Tropical Island Colada, so not a repurchase. This was just me going into the store, and I was like, let me pick up 2 candles, one which was Beach Weather, which was the new one, and then I was like, let me just try and force myself to like these like basic fruity fragrances, and I just didn't care for it. So that was that right there. The second candle that I've been burning is the Spring Has Sprung, this one. I don't think I've done a review on this one yet. This is the Spring Has Sprung candle. Easter lilies, dew covered grass, early spring air, and that's what that looks like right here. We're at like the mid-range point. Yeah, this is actually not any of the previous Easter like bouquet candles that we've had before. I think we had a Spring Has Sprung before, and like a Easter lily fragrance before, Easter bouquet. There was one that was very, very, very similar to Casablanca Lily, if it wasn't Casablanca Lily. And then there was another bouquet or Spring Has Sprung type one that was more like a variation of Flower Shop, where it had more of that like sort of like cooling greens, and like a rosy vibe to it. This one is more so a like sweetened lily. You get a lily, like, you know, so like a, think of like a spring, like clean floral fragrance to it. So very much like a lily type fragrance. It has like a slight like dewiness to it, mixed with a sweetened, almost like a sugared lemon or sugared, like some type of sugared citrus is in there, which I think Lacey Reviews on Instagram was saying she kind of gets Fruit Loops. I can kind of get that. There is like a slightly like out of place sweetness and like a zingy, like citrus to it that kind of does remind me of like Fruit Loops, and then mixed with like a like fresh air, ozone air, almost like a salty air type of vibe to it as well. Kind of reminds me of that old salt flower candle that we've had before, but not quite as salty, but a similar like ozone fresh air type fragrance is in there, mixed with a lily, and then some weird like out of place like sweet sugared citrus fragrance, just to make it, I guess, a little bit more palatable and not just a full blown dewy like lily or dewy floral, and that's what this smells like. But yeah, so it's like crazy, and then in the mid-range point it started sitting like downward into the wax bowl, so it started getting a little bit darker, but the throw on it was like a good medium to medium high, so I didn't really have any qualms smelling it. So that was a Spring Has Sprung one right there. At least the new fragrance, I'm not like too upset at it. So there was that. The other one that I've been burning is, I actually already did a review on this, and it's the Sweet Carrot Cake Somebody Loves You candle right here, and that's what that looks like, and it has the Easter lid on it, as you can see right there. This one is sweet cream cheese frosting, fluffy carrot cake, and cinnamon spice. You can see this one's almost at the mid-range point right there. It smells just like last year's, which I really enjoyed, so I picked up 2 of those last year, but this year it does smell the same, but when I burn it, it's a lot lighter. I remember the old one being quite strong, or at least like a medium to a medium plus. This one's more like a light to a medium. It's kind of not super detectable in an open concept area and minimally detectable in a bedroom. So yeah, but still great fragrance nonetheless. It literally smells just like carrot cake. You get like a cream cheese frosting along with like sort of the sourness that you get of a cream cheese, but it's sweetened enough that it's not off-putting by any means. But you get that like dairy cream cheese note in there mixed with like a fluffy spiced cake mixed with cinnamon, and that's what pretty much this smells like. I think pumpkin cupcake is like kind of the closest fragrance to this, that if you wanted a like fall time fragrance, I think sweet carrot cake would be the one for you. So there was that right there. And lastly, I think I did like a swap or something with a friend, and I was eyeing the sea salt and linen, and so I was able to get that from a swap right here. And that's what that looks like. This is from, I don't remember, was it 2020 or something? It was like an online exclusive collection with like lavender coconut and sea salt and linen ones in here. I think vanilla balsam was even in there too. Kind of like classy packaging-ish. So there's that. I smelled this and I was like, this is not the same, which I don't even have it with me. This is not the same as the original sea salt and linen from the original release that was in like that basket weave pattern with like a light blue like color to it. It's not the same fragrance, believe it or not. And I was like, whoa, what is this? So I was like, I would be so intrigued to burn it. So that's why I like started burning it once this week. And that's what that looks like. It has like the thick rope-like wicks. Yeah, this one says white grapefruit, fresh salted air, and lemon zest. It's totally not the same as the original sea salt and linen, which is weird that they did that and also kind of deceptive, but I also feel bad because I feel like I vouched for sea salt and linen previously and like told people to go get this version, but this is not actually the same fragrance. The old sea salt and linen, much stronger, definitely had like a very sea salty note in there as well that you get from a lot of those like fragrances that have salt in it, like sea salt and balsam and stuff like that, or even beach weather has a salty component to it. Heavy salty component mixed with like a really nice like creamy, like slightly vanilla powdery linen fragrance in there, and it was simply excellent. I loved it. It's like one of my favorite summer fragrances. But this, I mean, it's kind of similar, that it's also salty and linen-y, but it's not the same fragrance as the other one. It's like this weird alternate like universe version of it that smells a whole lot more like the old school suntan that is not the suntan that's out now, which is very confusing. But they had two versions of suntan before that didn't smell like the other original suntan slash poolside, and it had more of like this sort of like creamy, like cosmetic lotiony type of like white floral fragrance to it that I actually still really enjoy the fragrance of this. It's just not the same as the original one, but it's also quite light when you go to burn it as well. It's like a toned down version of that old, like the alternate suntan fragrance, which is like a like tropical white floral fragrance with a little bit of like a creamy slash like clean linen type ish vibe to it. But yeah, that is what sea salt and linen smells like right there. But I was just excited to get it because I was like, oh my god, I actually really enjoyed this variation too, but it's just weird that it's not the original one. But yeah, so that was the fourth BBW candle I was burning this week. And then yeah, some other ones that I think I already reviewed, so that I don't really need to be talking about it. Moving on, I acquired 2 Hallmarks candles for a very reasonable price. Like, even if I wasn't like really into the fragrances, it was such a like reasonable price that I was like, okay, I'll just pick it up and try it anyways. And I was finally able to get a chocolate birthday cake right here, which this one was like the really hyped candle there for a while. And I was like, I really want to try this, but you know, I just don't. I have so many candles. Like, I don't need another freaking candle in my life ever again. Like, I'm just not simply like in the market for candles because I have a massive candle collection I'm never going to get through my entire lifetime. So that's why I kind of just stick with BBW because they're relatively affordable. Their return policy is excellent, so I can just go into the store and swap it out if it is unscented or if there's something wrong with it, or if I end up not liking it. You know, and then I also, you know, do the YouTube thing, and a lot of that offsets the cost of like my BBW content. So like that isn't like too much of like a burden or whatever for me. But it's just, so I still kind of keep up to date with that, but it's just like I don't, because I get like a lot of questions like, why don't you try Kringle or Goose Creek or Hallmarks or stuff like that. I just have so many candles. Like, I really do not need another single candle in my life, and I'm just kind of like over the phase of like trying to acquire more and more candles, especially from other brands, just because like I have so much and I'm content with my collection. So that's why I just don't buy other ones unless I like come across something like this at a very reasonable price, where it's like, okay, I'll try it at that price kind of situation. So that's why I just don't really buy a whole lot of Hallmarks, and I don't like super keep up with it anymore because you have to pay for shipping. They are more pricey than a BBW candle. And what's the other thing? It's kind of like hit or miss. The exchange policy is obviously not as generous as BBW because you can't just like go into a store and swap it out. And there's like a lot of like duds from Hallmarks that are like really weak or have like wick issues, but there's also some really good ones. But I feel like it's more inconsistent even than BBW is, like in terms of having a really tragic candle versus a really good candle. So like you've seen my old Hallmarks videos. I still like enjoy the Hallmarks fragrances. It's just not top priority. And the same with Kringle and Goose Creek. It's like I have my hands full with my existing collection that I just don't need to like seek out other candle brands to fulfill my candle needs, because I already have all the candles in the world that I could ever like want, like, and still not finish them in this lifetime. So that's kind of my like reasoning and explanation as to why I don't go out and like acquire other brands. Of course, if some brands send them to me free of charge and I review them, that's a different story, which I'm actually going to get to in the second or the later part of this video right after this homework stuff. So there's that. But any case, yes. So chocolate birthday cake are right there. Yeah, this one was really hyped and I finally came across it. This is dark and milk chocolate, espresso powder, warm vanilla, and whipped cream. As you can see, it has already burned down to like the mid-range point right there. This smells okay on cold, but when it's burning, it's actually not all that. It kind of smells like a cheap, like plasticky, like cupcake fragrance mixed with like chocolate, like a milk chocolate or chocolatey, like fudgy type of fragrance to it. There's something distinctly like cheap or artificial that's underlying about it that smells like burning plastic, which you kind of get in the OG birthday cake candle from Homeworks, except it kind of like dissipates when you go to burn it, but you do smell it on cold. But it's kind of like the old school Slack & Co. frosted cupcake, always had like this burnt sugar cookie, like plasticky note to it. This has that distinctly, and mixed with the chocolate even smells more artificial and crayony, and it's just not really good, honestly. That was just like, oh yeah. So I mean, it was a setup too, so I still have a second one that I need to get through, but I haven't totally been enjoying this one, to be honest. I think chocolate layer cake chocolate layer cake from Yankee Candle is far superior in terms of a very realistic, fudgy, something baking in the oven birthday cake fragrance, whereas there's something distinctly like synthetic and cheap smelling about this that I would like expect from like a Big Lots candle or something. So I wasn't really in love with it. And the throw, like the very first few burns, like it was like nearly unscented, picked up a little bit mid-range to like maybe no more than a 5. So, yeah, chocolate birthday cake right there. Certainly not a repurchase, and like would I recommend to a friend? I don't really think so. So there was that there. Like hot cocoa and cream, not the same, but can kind of do the trick from BBW. Moving on, also came across this for a really good price. I was like, okay, let me snag it. And it's the toasted coconut sugar, which obviously would not be my top priority in terms of the ones that came out in this collection. But once again, it was like a very reasonable price to acquire this. Toasted coconut sponge sugar, drizzle, caramel, and vanilla bean. And I was like, you know what? I've been kind of jonesing for the bakery coconut fragrances. So let's give this a whirl and see what it does. So that's that right there. This is so immensely close to just the plain coconut cake fragrance, as well as, which is very similar to the coconut shortbread fragrance as well. Super redundant. Like this and coconut cake, I almost get no difference from. Maybe that other one's a little bit nuttier, but it's like pretty much the same exact coconut fragrance, same like caramel fragrance, and same like nutty bakery fragrance, that it kind of makes me wonder if this is just a repackage of coconut cake in a different name and different vessel, which seems kind of weird, but yeah, this is literally just coconut cake, so I don't know. And that was the toasted coconut sugar right there. Don't need to repurchase that just because I've already had coconut cake many times, so kind of misleading on that. And so those are the two Homeworks candles that I was burning this week. And then lastly, I have a few like other brand candles that I'll talk about here for a moment. So basically, as you know, I've like warded off or like not participated in a lot of like PR, things, or like, master programs, whatever it is, from other candle brands, just because I have my thoughts on it. I'm not going to go into it because you guys already know my thoughts on it at this point, that I'm not a huge like PR person, when it comes to, candles and doing reviews and the whole influencer thing. Just not totally on board with that. But I've just been getting so many like messages from different candle companies, that I'm just like, well, maybe I just like need to surrender to the PR or whatever it is, like getting review products sent to me, just so I can like try out different candles. I mean, because they are still like, they're free of charge, they still get shipped to me, so it's like I can still try out new fragrances without having to spend money on them, and I can just like also make content in case you guys were interested of other candle brands out there that aren't Bath & Body Works, because BBW has been really boring, to be completely honest. So if I can try out other fragrances free of charge, I'm like, okay, well, I guess maybe I'll just try them this time around. Let me just like surrender to all the messages that I get to tell me to do, review videos or whatever. So I don't get paid for any of the products that I get sent. I also don't have affiliate codes. I'm not a brand ambassador. I have nothing like that. So I have no like monetary investment or anything in it. These are just going to be truly just straight up review videos as if I had bought them, but I just did not buy them because I got it for free. And so I just kind of agreed to a handful of brands that were in my DMs on Instagram. And so you should be seeing here, maybe every week or so for the next like 3 or 4 weeks, you might see like a candle spotlight video where I spotlight a different candle brand from a brand that has sent products to me, and I'll review it just for content's sake. I'll still try to be very honest on it because once again, like they're not paying me money for it. It's like I don't have any kind of like monetary investment into, you know, the products that I'm being sent. So yeah, I'll still like try to put out, I guess, new content for that candle spotlight segment if and when a candle company like sends stuff to me, which has been the case for a few candle brands here recently. So with that said, I had actually I have 4 candle brands, but I think 3 have been solidified and I have 2 of them already here with me. So I won't do a full in-depth review, but I just kind of wanted to like talk about, because it was what I've been burning this week. So I'll do a full in-depth video you should see later on for both of these. So the first brand that reached out to me was Snif. Which is like snif.co right here. And once again, I'll get into all the background and the nitty gritty on the full length video, but I've been burning this. It comes in like a juicy box. These are definitely a little bit more pricey. I think they're like $50 each, but you can get the full set for $120. And I think it's some like sample situation where you can sample the smaller candles, and if you like it, then you can keep it, but if you don't, you send it back. Something like that. Not totally sure because I just haven't done all the research on it. But it did come with a Birds in the Breeze, Off the Grid, and Instant Karma, and I've burned all 3 of them twice each. Surprisingly strong for a single wick. And there's one here that is very similar to a old school BBW fragrance that was like very rare, like one-hit wonder, that I'm like, oh my god, I actually kind of like this one because like I've been like babying the other version that I have. And that was the Instant Karma one right here. It kind of actually smells a whole lot like Black Tea Rose from BBW, which I actually really enjoy that fragrance. So yeah, this is the one that smells just like Black Tea Rose. It has kind of like cedar plus floral, like tea leaves type of vibe to it that I really enjoy. It has like this sort of like atmospheric, like old world quality to it. And yeah, actually quite strong for a single wick. So look out for a review of that entire set and brand here soon. And the second brand that reached out to me was Guy Fawkes California, which specializes in more like men's cologne fragrances, but also has a line of candles as well. And they also sent me 3 candles to try out. I've been burning this one, actually really enjoying it. That's what that looks like. And that's what that looks like. Does it have the ounces on here? It's the 7-ounce single wick candle with a coconut wax blend. This one's the PCH, which I'm assuming is the Pacific Coast Highway in California. It has crushed pineapple, lavender, and musk. This actually smells a whole lot like the Hollister cologne. I think I was looking up the notes for the SoCal Hollister cologne, and it had like pineapple and like similar notes in it. So I'm assuming it's like either their take on the Hollister fragrance. I actually kind of don't mind that. Yeah, I don't know, it just has a nostalgic fragrance of when like I used to shop at Hollister way back in like middle school or whatever, or like when you walk by a Hollister store and you smell the cologne like wafting in the air. It reminds me of that, and I just had it in my office and I was like, oh my god, this is like so like nostalgic in the sense that it smells just like Hollister or whatever. Which it's like this slightly fruity, beachy men's cologne fragrance. Think of like mahogany coconuts, but a slight different twist on it. And it was actually really strong for a single wick candle as well. It's just like funny to come across single wick candles that are like as strong as these two, because like BBW single wick candles almost have no throw, but like these have actually been doing really well. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess you can still get a single wick candle that's actually quite strong. Maybe just the BBW one's just not the jam or whatever. So yeah, this one was actually quite like, I actually didn't want to like blow this one out. So that was the second one that I was burning. So, or the second like non-BBW candle brand that I was talking about. So yes, look forward to videos on both Snif and later on. And then we'll go from there. So I think that's pretty much it. Let me know what you've been burning or melting this week. Let me know if you've ever heard of Snif or Guy Fawkes. Let me know in the comments down below, and I guess I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.